Well, howdy, friends. Welcome back to Grunkle Tim Reads. Coming to you live from beneath my 40-foot wide Japanese maple, where bees buzz like Twitch streamers and the soil's richer than any social network. Today I got a tale of two neighbors, Tom the tomato and Ari the arugula, who've spent the whole season eyeing each other like rival politicians. He's tall, supported, and flaunts bright red fruit. She's low-growing, peppery, and dripping with nectar that draws in every bee in a 10-mile radius. They squabble over scraps of sunlight, pruning shears, and pollinator favors, never suspecting they're each other's greatest ally. By the way, that's happening right there. Stick around because when a 60-year-old wizard named Maplewyn the Wise steps in to broker their peace, you'll see that cooperation beats conflict every time. Whether you're in the garden bed or the state house, grab your cup of tea, hot or cold, it doesn't matter. Settle in, let's dig into this fable. No shovels required. Roots of Rivals, Tom versus Ari, and Maplewyn the Wise, a Grunkle Tim original. Beneath the sprawling canopy of Maplewyn the Wise, the garden seemed to hold its breath. Tom the tomato towered on his wooden and metal stakes, fuzzy leaves reaching for the sun he so cherished. At his feet spread Ari the arugula, her vibrant, peppery foliage unfurling in long, slender stems. Both bristled with resentments they'd nursed all season long. Tom couldn't fathom why the farm fussed over Ari's tiny white blossoms, each one dripping with sweet nectar that lured bees from miles around, yet barely glanced twice at Tom's own star-shaped flowers. He felt the sting of every pruning clip as both praise and demand perform or be cast aside. Ari, meanwhile, seethed at Tom's tall privilege. He soaked up all the light, flaunted his bright fruit, and complained when bees fluttered off to sip her nectar first. She envied his support stakes and the farmer's constant attention, hiding in Tom's shade and wondering why her gifts went unnoticed. All this petty bickering twisted through the soil. Their roots wove past each other, sharing moisture and mycorrhizae. Those are kind of like the Amazon delivery drivers of soil nutrition, but that's another story for another time, kids. Even as their leaves sent spiteful whispers skyward, little did they know how deeply they depended on one another. Just beyond Tom's vine and Ari's peppery patch, a chorus of other garden denizens had been watching in growing exasperation. Even the marigolds fumed at the waste of talent. I offer pest control and companion charm, yet I never hog the spotlight, they grumbled. Their bright faces turned sour. Over by the fence, the trailing nasturtium piped up. My blossoms lure aphids away from everyone. Tom, Ari, even you, marigold. Yet no one credits me for keeping us all safe. The rosemary bush shook its woolly head. I stand stoic through drought and drought, lending my fragrance to warn off bugs. Yet these two feud like squabbling squashes. Even the zinnias, bold in their rainbow crowns, felt compelled to weigh in. We bloom for the bees. Even our colors go unnoticed while you two squabble over every buzzing visit. Beneath the riot of petals and foliage, a single truth pulsed through the bed. This garden was a community, and everyone depended on everyone else, even if only Tom and Ari hadn't figured it out yet. After 60 seasons of watching such seasonal squabbles, Maplewyn the Wise, the ancient wizard of the garden, rose up between them. His gnarled staff dripped pollen like morning gold, and bees paused mid-flight, humming in respect. Tom, he rumbled, voice as soft as autumn wind. You stand proud on borrowed supports, yet fear collapse without them. Ari, you after nectar-rich flowers that sustain whole hives, and you blossom without a care, yet would wilt without Tom's shade. You feud over favors and flowers, blind to the gifts that you share. With a gentle tap of his staff, a plume of golden pollen drifted down. The bees descended first on Maplewyn's bark, then darted into Ari's nectar-laden blooms, before finally exploring Tom's generous, pollen-laden flowers. The procession was a living lesson in cooperation. See how Ari beckons them close, offering them sugar for their honey, and how Tom's blossoms give them the gift of pollen to sustain their hives. Ari's flowers provide early sustenance when few other blooms stand. Tom's abundant harvest promises the continuation of every garden guild. He sank his staff into the soil, and the ground seemed to pulse with hidden currents. Ari's nectar repels root-knot nematodes, shielding Tom's roots from their bite. Tom's deeper roots foster beneficial fungi that thread their way through Ari's fine root clusters like secret highways. Tom casts dappled shade that slows Ari's bolting on hot afternoons. Ari's low-growing leaves hold moisture, keeping Tom's thirsty roots cool and damp. Ari draws away aphids with her pepper-scented foliage, while Tom harbors lacewing larvae that patrol both of their realms. Finally, Maplewyn produced 3 steaming cups of dew-steeped tea. "Let this sip remind you," he said, "that strength grows in union, not in solitary spite. Your greatest flourishing awaits only when you embrace each other's gifts." Tom lowered his head, vines trembling. Ari's leaves softened in a hush that followed. Around them the bees resumed their gentle hum, weaving new covenants in pollen and petals. Under Maplewyn's watchful boughs, the tomato and the arugula at last recognized they were not rivals, but partners in the grand design of the garden. Well, that's the story, friends. No green screen, no fancy edits, just me in a garden, and a whole lot of buzz and wisdom that's been bestowed upon me by these amazing creatures. Remember, whether you're a tall-talking tomato or a low-key arugula, we all need each other to thrive. Plants, people, we all offer something great, and so do others. Give and be given to. That's how this whole thing works. And maybe, just maybe, spend a little less time arguing about politics and spend some time talking to your neighbors. Ever need a cup of tea and some simple wisdom from an old maple? My door's always open. I'm sure Maplewyn's is too. If you like this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use a little garden diplomacy in their life. Until next time, I'm Grunkle Tim. Keep on planting the seeds of cooperation. And hopefully, I'll see you under the maple. You guys have a wonderful day.